look, NC State season is not going the way that we spent all offseason talking about, okay? Sure. And I think it's more so what happened in the FSU win where they lost Devin Leary for the season and how Syracuse got him up in New York. Mm-hmm. The open date probably comes at the best possible time for Dave Doran and the staff to really take an assessment of what the rest of the year is going to look like offensively. Is it a Jack Chambers show the rest of the way, or do they just start going and giving MJ Morris more reps? What's their identity? What can they salvage? I think NC State, while not the season they wanted, we're going to find a heck of a lot more about the culture and what Dave Doran's been trying to do there at NC State the rest of the way, starting with Virginia Tech.
Well, and I know Giglio and you guys are a lot closer to this than I am, and I haven't had the Wolfpack in about 3 years for a game in football, so I need to kind of go with what I know based on what I've seen.
Hey, executives, put Wes on a football game, okay?
Yeah. I'm getting football games. That's not the problem. I'm just not getting NC State.
State football game.
Here's the idea of this, and I'll just say this from watching the Syracuse game. I think Chambers or Morris or whoever would be a lot more comfortable if they knew they were going to get X out of Jordan Houston or Sumo Kangbai, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so that's number one. Number two is this. The guy who is more comfortable being the face of the future, or the guy is, if it's MJ Morris, who I'm guessing is out of Carrollton, played for Joey King, by the way, at Carrollton, who was Trevor Lawrence's high school coach at Cartersville. And MJ Morris is the kind of guy who you think might be the next guy, or at least close to the next guy. Then Tim Beck and Dave Doran and that staff's got to come to some sort of conclusion on symmetry and where the offense is. Because here's the deal. Defensively, I don't hate them defensively. I like them a lot defensively.
No.
In fact, I think you can win tomorrow night on defense. I think the question is not tomorrow night. I think the question is down the road. But tomorrow night, in order to keep the Hokies from catching a flyer, you got to be able to do the principal issue of running the ball and running it consistently, I think, to get a quarterback at least some degree of confidence.
It's interesting you mentioned that about defense. I'm not going to say who it was that Giglio was having a conversation with, but we'll just say he's an optimist. He was an optimist about NC State. He's a mutual friend of ours. And the idea was, Giglio was
mutual
like,
friend
man.
of ours? Or mutual friend of yours?
Ours.
Okay,
the three
got
of us.
it. Yeah, okay.
And Giglio's being Giglio about it, right? And what did the optimist tell you?
Because I was like, yeah, man, I'm really worried about the Wake and the Carolina games. And he was like, nah, man, our defense is good. That Carolina game won't get out of hand. Their defense is terrible. And I was like, how do you do that? Like, how do you come back with that optimism? How do you do it?
Yeah, let me bring NC State fans to this table for a meal. Saturday night at Kenan Stadium is a really good example of what you don't want to have happen. You've got a really good defense. Pittsburgh has a really good defense, right? A, you can't turn it over, and B, you don't want to turn it over because it gives them extra cracks, okay? So Pittsburgh and NC State are like right there behind Clemson.
But Pat Narduzzi and Dave Doran were separated at birth too. So,
well, but and the idea of this, hey, look, we're good enough defensively. Carolina, and look, they're not great on defense. They're not consistent either. But are they ascending defensively? Perhaps. I mean, they've been better. Yeah. They have been better. But the idea here is you've got to be. You don't want to give, if it's an 8-possession game, you don't want to give them 10.
Yeah.
Because those other two could be touchdowns that win the game.
But here's the thing about Carolina, because that transitions us to the other interesting conversation going forward with the Tar Heels, who are in the driver's seat for the Coastal Division. They got what they needed this past weekend. The teams that needed to lose.
Best team in America to succeed without putting the ball on the tee last week was Carolina.
Driver's seat. They're on third base.
As you, Elsa,
there's nobody out. They just need one more run.
This weekend proved what again, Giglio, about Carolina?
If something good can happen to Carolina, it's
going to happen. That's exactly what happened with Duke.
That sounds like a podcast.
You know what? Maybe 2023 podcast in the books here. I don't know. We'll see. But Carolina fans, understandably, are not ready to, as Giglio likes to say, dump the Gatorade because they've seen this multiple times, out, not just out of the Mac Brown Tar Heels, but other iterations of the Tar Heels, where Pitt's likely to go 400 yards on the ground for all they know.
Yes, they are.
Because
and
Carolina
turn it into a 6-possession game.
And Carolina cannot keep. Carolina has a tendency to make things more difficult than it needs to be for themselves. They get nice things,
That's
but
fair.
man, oh man, do they flirt with disaster on a night-in, night-out basis.
Carolina 7-6 as a ranked team since Mac Brown's return in 2019.
Wow.
I have the Heels at 16 this week. People are mad at me at that too.
Virginia Tech people mad that they were 16 in your ballot.
I can't win with this.
No, you can't.
It's like
No, you need to tell Aaron Beard, hey Aaron, thanks, but no thanks.
I keep
next
telling
year,
Brownlow.
okay?
And what's sad is she has the ultimate retort. Basically, as a guy, you're going to get hate, but no one's going to tell you to get back into the kitchen. And
That's
so I'm
right.
like, damn it, Brownlow.
Brownlow always makes good points.
Why you got to make me
Yeah,
feel
Brownlow's very bright. very
Brownlow is
smart,
always
very
making
talented.
good points. Always
They
making
hate
good
you,
points.
but they're not sexist to you.
Yeah. There's a difference. Oh, and by the way, I got long COVID, so shut it. Oh, you're going to need some nasty tweets? She's got long COVID.
She didn't do that to me, though.
I will do that on her behalf. Give her
There
a
you go.
break. She's still dealing with it, regardless. Even though she's still helping us out with panic rooms and everything else. We'll be doing a panic room tomorrow. All right. So, but you get what I'm saying. We'll close on this. You get what I'm saying about Carolina. Yes,
Absolutely.
They've got things in position, but man, I still don't know if I can trust that Carolina defense.
And you know why? Because Antoine Harris is in the next end zone.
It's a great callback.
Yep.
Well done.
Well done, Wes.
I mean, what do you want me to tell you? They've been to
Well
the
done.
doorstep. Hey, Norman, Oklahoma, 1980. Antoine
I
Harris
know.
in the doorstep.
I
What do you?
know.
I mean, I know Carolina fans are thinking, "Wait, we lost to Notre Dame, and Notre Dame is crazy. You can't figure out Notre Dame. I mean, their playing personnel. They got 5 or 6 different playing personalities.
Yeah.
And I mean, who'd they play last week? Did they play like Bishop Gorman High School? I couldn't figure out who in the world. They were actually playing UNLV. Didn't look like it. But to me, Carolina has got to stay to Carolina. Carolina only has to worry about Carolina.
Yeah.
Agree.
I mean, in all honesty, Giglio just said it. They're standing on third and then nobody's out, and they can wait on pitches. They can take a call, third strike. They can do all that. But what they can't do is kill them. They can't beat themselves. Pittsburgh Saturday night in Louisville beat themselves with turnovers and miscalculations offensively and bad possessions in the red zone and all those things.
Wes Durham, ACC Network, ESPN West. We appreciate it. We will talk to you next week.
Take care, guys. See you soon. Thanks.